Well, NSE has launched electricity futures, and I'm joined by the Chief Business Development Officer, Mr. Krishnan. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. First question to you, sir. What was the rationale behind getting this derivative into the market? First of all, we see there's a lot of developments in the commodity space as well. Now we have electricity futures as well. So, what was the rationale first place that you saw at NSE?
See, the rationale for introducing derivatives contracts on any commodity would be the potential volatility that people are likely to encounter in that particular product. If you look at the ESG framework, which is getting unleashed everywhere in the world, as the replatformization happens, you are likely to see volatility. Prices may go up or prices may come down. Electricity and power in particular is a product which is likely to be volatile, and India is the third largest producer of power globally. Therefore, it's very important for us to have electricity futures for people to be able to hedge and take care of their downside risk. This is the whole objective for bringing this product onto the market.
Sir, when do we see a formal launch, formal announcement of the dates, and when does it go live on NSE? And secondly, what are the discussions initially that were on with the regulator CERC, because it falls under their purview as well? So, what are the discussions with CERC? Are they positive about it? And secondly, when do we expect the final discussions to get over and this goes live for trading?
The regulatory framework is now very clear because this is a derivative product. It falls within the remit of SEBI. And therefore, SEBI is going to be the regulator with respect to electricity futures as the product. And the product term sheet and all the aspects have been discussed with regulators, and we have the principal, all the in principle approval plus the final approval in place now. So we should go live very, very soon. Although the dates are not yet announced, you can expect a clear announcement in the form of a circular from NSE in the next couple of weeks.
All right. Sir, you mentioned very categorically recently that this would help discoms and other players manage, traders, generators, to manage volatility for certain price surge or certain price getting low. Could you give us a small purview of how would that happen? How would that be curtailed? Volatility be done, sir?
No, you know that the cost of power is going up. For example, with so many data centers coming up, right? We have seen cost of power going up significantly in Maharashtra, for example. And therefore, if people have a hunch that prices are likely to go up, if they have a view based on their analysis that prices are going to go up, they can buy the futures, electricity futures on NSE, and thereby they can control the downside risk. In other words, if somebody doesn't do this, they are exposing themselves to an unreasonable increase in the cost of power, which is also quite possible. And people who are conscious of the numbers and the way they are being seen by the world, particularly large companies, manufacturing facilities, everybody has a big line of expense against electricity. They will all be very keen to take advantage of this product and what it offers.
And also, you must be aware that Maharashtra recently announced, a subsidy on electricity. Delhi government announces, a subsidy on electricity. So these are political developments out of the purview for NSE as well. How do you going to manage that? And is there a cushion for investors as well in these kind of scenarios?
See, this is a derivatives contract, right? You can always square off your position if your view changes. That is always an option.
Right.
So, people need these options and people need the ability to be able to deal with the downside risk, and they should not be just left open like that. That's the whole objective.
And also, do you feel that cash settlement would make futures more accessible or more safer? Is there any view to that?
No, physical delivery of electricity is not possible. Therefore, it is cash settled. And cash settled means that, foreign investors can also participate in this product. So, it will just have a lot more participation is what we feel.
All right. There have been a lot of arguments on one grid, one nation, one price. And with electricity futures coming up, do you think this would probably support more of your cause? And how are you going to look at it?
No, for us, we are a marketplace which is globally reputed, globally well known and well acknowledged for technological prowess. And I think this is just another product on the platform. And the ecosystem wants to see such products. There's also a demand for carbon credits, for example. Another product, exciting product for the country. It can unlock a lot of value. And we are keen to bring that on as well to the platform as and when it's possible and as and when it's approved by the regulators.
And you mentioned about contract for difference. How soon are we expecting its rollout, and what is it going to do for the betterment of the markets?
See, typically, although we are going live with monthly contracts and available for the next 4 months, typically in the other parts of the world, these are actually longer tenor contracts. And, the CFD is a bridge between the spot and the, futures, right? So many people like the concept of contract for difference, which is why that's also available as a product on the shelf. So, we're going to watch this space as we go along. This will evolve. This will become bigger over time. And we think that we should have also quarterly contracts and annual contracts like the other parts of the world in addition to CFD. So I think you'll see more product innovation in this space.
Before I let you go, sir, the biggest talk of the town is, of course, the NSE IPO. With electricity futures coming up and, successful rollout in the coming weeks, when do we expect the IPO, sir?
See, we are awaiting regulatory clearances. And when we have the regulatory clearances, we will be able to go ahead with the next steps of the process. There are a lot of steps in this process. IPO might take some time in order for us to complete all these process steps. And it's very difficult to comment on how much time we may require. But the first step is, of course, the regulatory clearances. We are awaiting that.
And I know it's difficult, but yes, is there a timeline to the first step being approved? And I'm sure internal discussions are on, but could you give us a sense of when could the first DRHP could be filed, or probably the initial filing of papers could be done? What are the internal discussions that have been done so that you could tell us?
No, we are watching all the developments on your channels, and SEBI chairperson has said even in recent interviews that all the points are now in the concluding stages, and therefore we are hopeful of the IPO proceeding further in terms of next steps.
Okay, so we wish you a speedy IPO papers and DRHP filing. Well, that was the Chief Business Development Officer at NSE talking about, of course, the electricity futures and how soon the IPO could come in. With camera person Ashok Bhanot, this is Chetan Bhutani for Business Today.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.